with an AEW star spotted at Raw and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. On a recent WWE live event, fans would pay tribute to Bray Wyatt with their phone lights during a match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this is actually so beautiful. Oh, it's so good. I might start crying. I might start crying. Oh.
Addressing his contract situation with TNA Wrestling, Josh Alexander said this to Fightful: "I signed the contract 2 years ago. I've seen people on Twitter and stuff like that being like Josh is being held hostage and all this stuff. And I want to dispel that. First and foremost, at the end of the day, I want to be able to look myself in the mirror with my head held high so that I can carry myself as a professional. Did I explore the option of them not extending my contract? Sure, it never hurts to ask, but I signed that contract and I'll uphold my end of the bargain there and stay here for another year and see what happens after that. It's always a possibility that I negotiate a long-term extension before then. Anthem has already had interest in doing that. At the end of the day, I think it would have been cool to kind of see what was out there and see what I could do in the wrestling business right now between, other companies and stuff like that, if there's interest, because that's not something I've ever been able to do. The ball was in their court. It was a team option. They picked it up, and I'm happy to stay for another year and do the things I've been doing for the past 5 years." For information regarding why The Rock refers to himself as the final boss in WWE, former head writer for the company Brian Gewirtz wrote on X, "Final boss isn't anything I came up with. The Rock calls himself that because he is that. If it makes you feel better, Cody Rhodes, I was the first to tell him about your spectacularly stupid, goofy ass dog." Mentioning the support he had from Paul Heyman in WWE, Top Dolla told Chris Van Vliet, "The one good thing is that Paul Heyman used to stand up for me a lot, and Paul Heyman would say, they can't see the difference between what like John Cena and Max Caster and what you're doing. He said, theirs is like not comedy but kayfabe rap. It's rap within the wrestling realm. Yours is like actual, livable, breathable hip-hop," and he said because of that, it makes it more real. So if you're not into that, you can't understand it. So do they want me to not do it? No, they had no problem with me doing it. They just wasn't going to put him on TV. There's so many times Paul Heyman would text me, "Man, this should be how we start the show tonight." I would send him my video I'm doing. I sent him one I did for the Christmas show. He was like, "This should start the show tonight." Sent him so many different ones that we did, and mind you, I never get my flowers. Hit Row never gets our flowers. When LA Knight had the 2 million view video on YouTube in 24 hours from the Madison Square Garden Dark show, we were in the segment with him. No one ever gave us our flowers for that. I don't know how many times that happened on WWE, not just with LA Knight, but just on WWE YouTube since, but we never got flowers for that. The only match that was promoted for the Christmas show, which is one of the highest watched shows in SmackDown history, and I think the highest watched pre-taped show in WWE history, the only promoted match for that was Usos versus Hit Row. For the tag team titles, we never got our flowers for that. But Paul Heyman would always show me love and like. I would send him my videos and he would love them. And I would send other people my videos and they would love them. But they just would never put them on TV. And then sometimes I would make videos, we would make videos, Hit Row, and we would send it to the creative team and they would be like, "This is great. We're going to try to put this on the show." And then something would happen. Don't know who, don't know why, but it just wouldn't be a part of the show. Recognizing an incredible feat achieved by Becky Lynch, said this to WWE Stats and Info on Twitter. "Tonight, Becky Lynch is poised to become the first superstar in WWE history to compete in 2 last woman standing matches in a career. Raw, her first was in 2018 when she defeated Charlotte at WWE Evolution. Following Raw, Becky Lynch had an announcement for fans in attendance.
As of a few hours ago, I became an American citizen.
Asked about a return to pro wrestling, former WWE star Mandy Rose said this to Jamal Niaz. "Today I will say there was a part of me when I was sitting in the ring doing the Q&A and all the fans were there. I do miss it, I will say. I said in an interview not too long ago that I didn't really have the itch. I don't know if I have the itch to go back and wrestle full time right now. However, I do miss the fans. I miss the camaraderie. I miss that adrenaline rush. I'm doing a lot of amazing things. I'm so grateful for where I'm at in my life, but do I have that adrenaline rush? Not really. I think that might be missing. I would do it for the fans. I would do it for the aspect of there was some unfinished business and we really catapulted, and Toxic Attraction was so amazing. And as much as some things didn't pan out the way I wanted, I do feel bad a little bit and a little guilty in the sense of like we had something going so amazing, and I kind of feel for the girls in the group because they don't hold it against me or anything, but it's one of those things where maybe there is something in the future, so I'll never say never. I don't think the door is fully shut. The boots aren't totally hung up, so you'll just have to wait and see." During the opening for his promotion's 10th showcase, AEW star Dustin Rhodes would end up taking a shot at The Rock.
"Welcome to Rhodes Wrestling Academy, Showcase 10. This is the natural Dustin Rhodes coming to you live and in color, baby. Tonight, we have 3 big title matches. The men's, the women's, and the newly minted tag team titles. The tag team championship will be in the main event for a 2 out of 3 falls, 30-minute time limit between the newly Texas Outlaws against the homegrown RWA Outlaws. The Outlaws all together. Oh my God, what can happen? Anything can happen. It's gonna be fun. Strap in, sit down, subscribe, like, and don't you forget, RWA is the future. These kids have worked hard. Let's go, let's have some fun. But one more thing. Zoom in here just a little bit. Fuck The Rock.
Explaining why a dream match against Sting never materialized in WWE, The Undertaker noted on a 6 Feet Under podcast, it just didn't work out. He had a short run in WWE, and Vince McMahon didn't want it. For whatever reason, I don't know what it was. He didn't feel it. Everybody else was clamoring for this match for quite a few years. A year or two into that character change, people were already sending me artwork with the billboard of the poster. It just never worked out. The match would have been good, but I don't think it would have lived up to the expectations that people have for it. People always think about things in a certain sense. I think they thought in their mind of Undertaker 2007 or 2008 versus Sting. It was later on than that. I can say I was on the backside of what I was going to do when he got there. Staying on the topic of Sting, AJ Styles had this to say regarding him following the Icon's retirement match at AEW Revolution, telling the Battleground podcast, "Oh man, they say never meet your heroes. I got to meet one of mine. Obviously, it was Sting. He is such a great guy. He's a nice guy. Has always been a nice guy, and man, it just made my day to meet somebody like that who I admired so much and enjoyed watching. So he has definitely earned his time in pro wrestling, and man, he went a lot longer than I'm going to. It's awesome that he gets to end on his terms and not someone else's. When you go out on an injury, that's not the way you want to go out, so for him to end it when he wants to end it, that's awesome." Talking about his WWE contract status, Drew McIntyre, who is set to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 40, told the Ringer's Masked Men show, "It's very important to me having a new contract. It's been talked about for a very long time on the internet. I'm not the only one whose contract comes up every few years or whatever, but you would think it reading the internet. There is nothing I can say right now. I can say that I'm having fun. I can say that I intend to continue having fun, and I'm in my prime. I'm younger than everyone thinks I am because I've been around for such a long time. I have years to go. No matter what, you'll still see Drew McIntyre wrestling. I can say, or Drew Galloway, and that would get everyone's attention." During last night's episode of Raw at Raleigh, North Carolina, AEW star Matt Hardy could be seen in attendance and taking photos with fans. With reports of his contract with All Elite Wrestling expiring this month, Ringside News wrote that, according to a new report by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, Matt Hardy did not have any meeting with WWE officials to discuss business-related matters amidst his AEW contract set to expire soon. He and Rebby Sky were at the event for about 90 minutes at the invitation of his wife's friend in their suite. Despite the report stating that Hardy was not at Raw for any contract negotiations or official business, it could be a possible hint at where Matt wants to head next after his current contract deal with Tony Khan's company comes to an end. Mentioning his departure from AEW and his return to WWE, Shawn Spears, who is now on NXT, told Fightful, "It's very important to me. I am somebody who, for whatever anybody wants to say about me, throughout the course of my 20 plus years that I've been doing this, one thing that's going to be hard for them to say is that I have been unprofessional. I'm a very big believer that in professional wrestling, that word professional is paramount. It's key. It's almost more important to me than the second word that comes into play. It was amicable, absolutely, as was me leaving WWE in 2019. Again, I like to think that over the years I have accumulated a level of respect from my peers, from the people that employed me. There's obviously a two-way street there with a great deal of respect, so having things like that will prevent things from being nasty. They don't need to get to that point. It was just a time that I felt it was best for me, best for my family, and as difficult as some decisions are sometimes, it's nice to know that mutual respect can allow things to go smoothly, much smoothly than they may. It was important to me to be able to come back to this company. That was the first big question of whether or not it was a possibility. Once the possibility was a definite possibility, then it became about what is the best course of action to take going forward. Let's be honest. Let's be clear as day. I'm not going to tell you guys anything you don't already know. WWE's on fire across the board. The numbers have never been better, and I don't know all the numbers. Don't get me wrong, I don't know all the numbers, but what I do know of them is that we're smashing record after record. The attendance is going through the roof. Merchandise is off the charts. That wheel that we talked about is spinning faster and stronger than ever. So to be able to come back into that and be a spoke on that wheel again and be able to contribute in any way that I can is massive. Once the opportunity came to come to NXT, I jumped all over it. There's going to be people watching this right now that are saying, why wouldn't you want to go to Raw? Why wouldn't you want to go to SmackDown? NXT is also killing it. I've been here for a couple of weeks now, and I have seen talent that has blown me away. What I love about that is that it takes me back to when I first started training, or reminds me of my time here in the Performance Center, being in the spot that they're in right now, knowing where they're going to have the possibility to go, the things they're going to go through. I'm able to help guide in that sense too with my time here at the Performance Center. My responsibilities in WWE are a little more than just in the ring. That is something that I don't take lightly and something I am massively interested in. At the end of the day, what it boils down to, after a conversation with my wife, I get to wake up every morning and see my son and play with him and do whatever I need to do, and then I get to be home in my bed every night sleeping beside my wife. So in the middle of that, the in between that, if I get to go hang out and learn from the Shawn Michaels of our world or the Matt Blooms, or I get to be a big kid in between those very important things, and I get to do that every day, tell me how I made the wrong call. Tell me how I made a bad decision there, man. Speaking about Maxxine Dupri being booed at a WWE live event and those in the women's division coming out on social media to support her, Trish Stratus said this regarding it to Slam Wrestling. I think these keyboard warriors have no idea what we do. I suffered it too. They were like, oh, that match was crap. Well, you try it. I love that the women banded together because we all get it. We all go through it. We live it. And it affects us, you know? We have feelings. So when people say something mean, it doesn't feel that great. So it's great that we can all use the platform of social media to unite and let the critics know that they can't just talk shh and get away with it. I love that we can put them in their place. I think that Maxxine Dupri is doing amazing. I think she's being booked perfectly. I see similar parallels to the way I was booked early on. I believe I have this connection with the fans because of how I came up. I didn't do the traditional upbringing. I didn't come in trained. I didn't do the indies or the minor leagues, so to speak. I literally learned on the road. I learned as I went, and everyone was along for the journey. They got to see me fall down, but they also got to see me stand up, dust myself off, and try again. And I think she's doing a great job. She's athletic, she's got a great look, she's gorgeous. I think she's the perfect underdog story, and I think it's going to turn around and people are going to click with her, and she'll be around a long time. And I would encourage her to use those negative words as her fuel. I hope she turns it into a fire so that she can go back to them and say, look at what I did now. When I was getting criticized, when people were telling me I'd never succeed, my motivation was to become so good that people couldn't help but notice. That drove me. Hopefully that can be her fuel as well. Taking to Instagram, Raquel Rodriguez, who has had issues with mast cell activation syndrome, posted an update on her health following a removal from the active WWE roster, writing, "The healing journey has been a learning journey too. Learning about the lymphatic system and coming in for regular lymphatic massages has been so pivotal in helping me get past some caca days. Sometimes I spend all day at Detox City Meta Spa, and I love it." For more details on WWE star Shayna Baszler wrestling for GCW's Bloodsport event and AEW Talent Wrestling during WrestleMania week, Ringside News wrote that Baszler's involvement sparked speculation that some independent promotions had difficulty securing AEW talent for their shows, leading them to explore options with WWE. This speculation isn't unfounded. According to reports from PW Insider Elite, AEW has a specific philosophy regarding talent bookings during WrestleMania weekend. Generally, AEW prefers its talents not to wrestle unless it's for promotions with which AEW has a working relationship. Notably, this includes Japanese promotions like DDT Wrestling, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, and Stardom, with talent such as Billy Starks, Brian Keith, Willow Nightingale, and Mariah May all slated for shows under these banners over the weekend. However, AEW does make exceptions to this rule in certain cases. Talents like Johnny TV can participate in events like Bloodsport, and past instances have seen talents like Jon Moxley work the show. Additionally, AEW doesn't oppose talent making signing appearances or appearing at conventions like WrestleCon during the weekend, which have become staples of WrestleMania weekends in recent years. Receiving backlash for wearing a shirt that showed the late Ole Anderson, Brooks Jensen was asked this by Tiff on X. "So Brooks Jensen, why do you think it's appropriate to wear a t-shirt of a massive racist in 2024? Jensen responded, writing, "I will never support any racism, hate, or bullying. While I respected Oli for his wrestling, it was news to me after wearing the t-shirt that he was associated with these allegations. I've noticed my looks and where I'm from are frequently stigmatized with the underbelly of our society, i.e. racists, but this mullet just likes to give love and party. My apologies to anyone who knew the allegations prior and were offended by the shirt. I'm learning, and this was noted. When it comes to Cody Rhodes swearing during his Raw promo response to The Rock, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, the concern was there was a memo, everyone got it, but they gave Cody, they knew that he had to come back against Rock, but there was absolutely a memo. I got that from several different guys, and there's been other reporters who have too, so that's not nothing, and no one else is allowed to do that, but Cody was given the opportunity to do it because basically they wanted him to stay babyface essentially, and if he came off badly on this promo and Rock came off so great in Memphis, it's like that's not what they want. Going over a health update on a WWE legend after he suffered a fall causing fractures in his back in 2 places, it was said that WWE Hall of Famer Afa the Wild Samoan is scheduled to undergo surgery on his back after a fall led to a fracture in 2 places. PWInsider.com sends all our best to the entire Anawai family. With AEW star Jack Perry making appearances in New Japan following his backstage altercation with CM Punk, Dave Meltzer said this regarding Perry on Wrestling Observer Radio. He has not been fired. He's absolutely not been fired, but they're not using him. Essentially, Tony Khan's really mad at him because he cost him CM Punk. He's getting the blame. He probably should have been suspended for a month or 2. Where are we at? 7 months now? 7 months. It's ridiculous. The punishment doesn't fit the crime at this point. Clarifying what allegedly took place in his altercation with CM Punk during last week's NXT show backstage, Booker T noted on his Hall of Fame podcast, "If you hear me say anything here on the Hall of Fame, this show is show related. I'm trying to entertain my fans. I'm trying to entertain the fans just watching this. Trying to give you guys a moment when you ain't got to think about that kind of stuff, alright? So if you hear me say anything about CM Punk, Corey Graves, Michael Cole, Brad Gilmore, don't jump into the internet mess." So let's just get that out there right now, because that story, that 40-second story that people wrote, it was clickbait, guys. That's what it was more than anything. Did I put it out there? Did I say it? As far as I had a beef, I was going to run up. Yeah, I said it, but I'm entertaining you guys. Entertaining, just playing around. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.